Greetings, boys and girls. It is now time for Reader's Workshop. We're having fun learning reading today. Reading today is fun. We learn from our success. We learn from everyone. We're having fun learning reading today. Reading today is fun. We learn from our success. We learn from everyone. We're learning to think. Think today. Thinking today is fun. Thinking helps solve problems. Solving problems helps everyone. We're learning to think. Think today. Thinking today is fun. Thinking helps us solve problems. Solving problems helps everyone. Boys and girls, can you help me read our learning target today? I can compare and contrast two nonfiction texts. Boys and girls, remember, fiction means fake. Fiction stories are stories that are made up and they are not true. Sometimes they even have imaginary characters in them. A nonfiction text or passage to read is true. It's not fake. It explains real things, teaches you about real things, shows you information about real things. When you compare and contrast information, you're looking to see how things are the same or different. Remember, boys and girls, our hand signal in class for compare was to clasp your hands together to show how things are the same. And our hand signal for contrast means put your hands apart so that people can see how they're different. Let's look at the pictures here before you now. Can you pause the video and think of some ways these pictures are the same and then how they're different? Pause the video and compare and contrast the pictures. Welcome back. Well, if we compare these pictures, remember that's like clasping your hands together or seeing how the pictures are the same. What do they have in common? Well, they both have a bit of technology. There's a person in each picture using the technology. And it looks as if both people are sitting. Now, let's contrast the pictures or see how they're different. One person's technology is a cell phone. The other's is a laptop. One person is sitting on the ground or a wooden floor, and the other person is probably sitting in a chair at a desk. One person is a woman and the other person is a man. One person has something to drink and headphones and the other person does not. Did your answers match mine, boys and girls? Great job. Did you see something that I didn't name? Good for you. Now let's look at two nonfiction passages. These passages are about the same topic, or they have the same main idea. It's about a cactus plant. Remember, authors may view the same topic in different ways. So we're going to read about a cactus plant by one author, and then we'll read about cactus plants from a different author, in order to see how authors view the same topic in different ways. I'm going to model for you, boys and girls, how we can compare and contrast two texts using this graphic organizer. It's called a Venn diagram. Can you say Venn diagram? Yes, Venn diagram, starting with a V here. That's two circles put together so that they overlap. On the left side of the Venn diagram, we're going to write important topics or key details that we learned by reading Never Fear, the Cactus is Here. Remember, key details are the most important parts of the text or the writing. On the right side of the Venn diagram, we are going to write the most important parts or the key details that we read in Surviving as a Cactus Plant. Then we'll look at both sides of our Venn diagram and see what matches. Whatever matches goes in the middle of the Venn diagram, labeled both. Boys and girls, if you'd like, you can get your own sheet of paper, draw your own Venn diagram on the paper, and follow along with me. Never fear, the cactus is here. Do you have a hard time taking care of houseplants? It can be a lot of work. It is important you make sure plants have enough sun, food, and water each day. Many people get busy with everyday life and often forget to water their plants when needed. This results in the plant dying. A plant without water is not a happy plant. There is a solution. It's a cactus. Cacti are desert plants. This means that they only need a small amount of water to survive. A cactus has one big root called a taproot that retrieves water from deep down in the ground. It also has many other tiny roots that are very close to the surface. These tiny roots soak up the rainwater around them as soon as it hits the soil. Cactus roots can hold water for a long time. That is why it's important to not overwater your cactus plant. The roots store water without you even knowing it. Remember, if you are trying to find an easy plant to care for, think of getting a cactus. Let's look at some of the important details or key details that we can highlight in our first passage, Never Fear, the Cactus is Here. We learned that people often forget to water their plants when needed, and this results in the plant dying. We learned that cacti are desert plants and they only need a small amount of water to survive. We learned that a cactus has one big root called a taproot that retrieves water from deep in the ground, and it has other tiny roots as well that are close to the surface. These roots soak up water as soon as it hits the soil. We learned that cactus roots can hold water for a long time. And we learned that cactus are easy plants to take care of. Let's write down some things that we learned about the cactus plant from the article, Never Fear, the Cactus is Here. First, we learned that sometimes people forget to water their plants. And the plant may die. We also learned that cacti are desert plants. We learned that cacti only need a small amount of water to survive. We also learned that a cacti has a big root called a taproot. It also has tiny roots. We learned that cacti can hold water for a long time. And last but not least, cacti are easy to take care of. Now let's read Surviving as a Cactus Plant. Not just any type of plant can survive in the hot desert. The desert habitat is prone to drought. A drought is when there is very little to no rainfall for a long period of time. It takes a tough plant, like the cactus, to survive those conditions. Cacti are desert plants. They only need a small amount of water to survive. One of the main reasons a cactus can survive in such harsh weather conditions is its mighty roots. The cactus plant has one very big root called a taproot, and many other small roots that are close to the top of the soil surface. The small roots soak up the rainfall from the top of the soil. An adult saguaro cactus, a huge desert cactus, can hold up to 200 gallons of water after a downpour rainstorm. The taproot releases water into the cactus and its needles little by little, so the plant never runs out of water. Let's highlight some of the things we've learned in this article, boys and girls. We learned that not just any type of plant can survive in the hot desert. Cacti are desert plants. They only need a small amount of water to survive. They have mighty roots. A big root, called a taproot, and many other small roots that are close to the top of the soil. We learned that the small roots soak up the rainfall from the top of the soil. We also learned about a cactus called a saguaro cactus. It's a huge desert cactus that can hold up to 200 gallons of water after a big rainstorm. Then we learned that the taproot releases water into the cactus and its needles. Those are the sharp points on the cactus, little by little, so that the plant never runs out of water. Now let's think about the things we learned in our second article. We learned that cacti can survive in the hot desert. We also learned that cacti need just a little water. We learned that cacti have a tap root, that's the large root. Cacti also have small roots that soak up water from the top of the soil. We learned that a saguaro cactus can hold up to 200 gallons of water. And we learned that the taproot releases water into the cactus needle, little by little. Boys and girls, we have interesting facts about the article Never Fear, the Cactus is Here on the left side of the Venn diagram, and interesting facts that we've learned from surviving as a cactus plant on the right side of our Venn diagram. Now get ready to pause the video, boys and girls, so that you can fill in the middle of the Venn diagram on your own. What do both sides have in common? How are they the same? Look at the facts that were typed on the left and typed on the right. Pick the facts that match so that you can write them in the middle of your Venn diagram to show that both articles have something in common. Pause the video and have fun. Welcome back, boys and girls. Did you write down that both sides talked about cacti living in the desert? Cacti need a little water, and they have a taproot and smaller roots? If so, you were correct. As you can see on both sides of the Venn diagram, it talks about how cactus live in the desert. It also talks about cacti needing just a small amount of water. Both sides of the Venn diagram talk about cacti having a taproot as well as tiny roots or smaller roots. Great job, boys and girls. Everything else doesn't quite match up. Now we can clearly see that authors may view the same topic in different ways. Boys and girls, we're going to do one last thing with the information on our Venn diagram. We're going to turn some of this information into a paragraph about what we've read and learned today. Boys and girls, here is an example of what the paragraph for today's passages can look like. The main topic of both passages was about the cactus plant. Boys and girls, we always want to start off our first sentence with what both passages have in common. Let's continue. The passages were similar. That means the same, comma, because they both talked about cacti living in the desert, cacti needing only a little water to survive, and that cacti have a large tap root and smaller roots. Boys and girls, we got this particular sentence from the middle of the Venn diagram about how both passages were the same. Now it's time to talk about how the passages were different. The passages were different, comma, because the first passage talked about how cacti are easy to take care of in your home. The second article or passage talked about the saguaro cactus holding up to 200 gallons of water. Boys and girls, now you know how to compare and contrast two similar non-fiction passages using a Venn diagram, and then using the information from the Venn diagram, writing about what you learned. To review what we've learned today, we've learned that fiction is something that is made up, and it is not true. Nonfiction is true, and it explains real things. We learned compare means same and contrast means different. We've learned how to compare and contrast pictures as well as articles or passages using a Venn diagram, two circles that overlap. And in the middle is what both passages have in common. We've also learned how to turn that information into a short paragraph to explain what we've learned. Great job, boys and girls. Tomorrow, you'll be writing more on your own before you see my answers on your Venn diagram, as well as writing your own summary about what you've read before you see mine. Now it's time to have more fun reading, boys and girls. Read your own books, your Just Right books, for at least 20 minutes, and then have fun working on Head Sprout. Remember, the link is found on my blog, and so is your username and password. See you next time.